Hello, I am Savannah Kane, and you are now checking out the Three Count podcast. Yay.
Welcome everybody to another great edition of the Three Count Podcast presents Now Entering, and I'm your host, Clifford Red Dog Miller, the man that leads you up that mountain to go wrestling. And with this being season 6 on our 420 something episode, I would just hope you say it with me. I am your Sherpa because, like your tribal chief, acknowledge me. But like every good Sherpa, you gotta have someone who's been there, done that, and can do it more efficiently than you can. That's why it's never about me. It's about who's entering. So who's entering? You can find her at 1CW, TWI, Fight, Next Up, Bell to Bell. So many other promotions. She is a commentator, an MC, a manager, a veteran of the United States Navy. She is a complete badass. She is my friend, Savannah Kane.
Hi.
What's up?
Hello.
It's been a while since like you and I have actually been able to have a conversation. I think the last time I saw you, it next up.
I think so, yeah.
I think that's what it was like in Virginia. And I just
Yeah.
happened to come down with pure ignorance. And no, so how you been though? Because there are very few people in this industry that I would consider uh, a ride or die for. Like I would ride and die for a person, um, and you are one of them. And
Oh,
it's really like one, you're a great person to be around, but two, like yay, you're my sister in the armed services, so I got to give a lot of love to my vets, and yeah, I just remember like cutting off like a lot of people when like a whole thing happened. We won't dig into it, but a whole thing
mhm,
happened, and then you and I like, True Color started to show. We were like, yeah, man, like this is my ride or die. I was like, fuck what you
mhm,
mean. I was like, I will, I'll cut everybody off. I even actually deleted the episode off this podcast. That's how serious
mhm,
like I was about this life, and yeah, no, and I did it because like I said, like you know, the only person who's gonna make fun of the people in the armed service better be have served in the armed service and not pretend
mhm.
that they served in the armed service.
And to be honest, that's what I don't know if you heard what happened with what's going on with one of the ships out there that keep losing aircraft.
Yes, like
So yeah, so it's like, um, of course, we're gonna check on our shipmates first before we start talking trash. But it's also like, if you've never served, if you've never been on the flight deck, like your opinion doesn't matter. You don't know, like these sailors have been gone for like almost a year. They're tired, they're ready to come home. And like, not to like get into what's going on, but it's like it's stuff that's literally out of their control right now.
yeah. Yeah, no, it was wild, man. That's like the first time I heard that the first aircraft going over the ship, I started laughing. I was like, "Damn, don't we strap these things down? Like, that's what's supposed to be happening. Like, it's not." I realized like we have a quick deploy. Like, we supposed to be ready for all this. And I guess me being in Air Force, right? Like, we keep our shit on land. Like, we don't put it on boats. So,
Mhm.
like, obviously, I'm not too familiar with the whole setup. But like, I was like, don't we have like a tow rope or something that we could put on these guys so that they will just
No, they
like
got an arresting gear. Like that's how
somebody
they
took that resting
launch
gear
and
off and made
catch
it a
the
moving gear.
aircraft.
No, because I was like, yo, and then to find out that it was one of three, I was like, so you mean to tell me at the bottom of the ocean, we have three aircrafts that are just
No,
like,
they recovered them.
oh, okay, good, because
Yeah.
I'd be afraid about what was going on if God forbid, like a great white learns how to fly an aircraft, and all of a sudden, like
Hmm.
we all of a sudden get rained on for some reason.
Yeah.
But no, I was thinking about it too, and it was funny because recently, like your story, you and I's situation that happened with third party, got brought up in a conversation, and I was thinking about like I was like, like only people that are in the military or been attached to the military are going to be allowed. And even at that, there's certain lines that you're just not going to cross.
Mhm.
And I
Yeah.
remember that conversation happening and seeing the messages and stuff like that. I was like, dude, what douchebag thinks that they're just gonna get away with just like saying a whole bunch of shit? And then I get it, like that person has came to me and apologized. And I just redirected that. I was like, that's cool, you can come talk to
Yeah.
me. But you know, till you talk to Savannah, like, hey, don't reach out to me again. And they were like, well, she's not talking to me. I was like, and for good reason. I was like, yo, fuck up out of here with that shit.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about all that though. I want to talk about some fun shit. What's good with
Yeah.
you? What have you been up to for the longest time? Because I know when we saw 1CW bell to bell now is the thing. Like there's been a lot of changes. So talk to me about all that.
Um, so my stuff really didn't start picking up until last year, um, when I caught COVID. And then like that period when I was like really sick, because that had put me in a hospital. That kind of like, it put me in a situation, personally, mentally, and, you know, it got to the point, like, even when I first started, I felt like I had to be on the same level as, like, all these other ring announcers and commentators. Um, so, like, I was afraid to fail. But, like, now with all these opportunities that have been happening to me so far this year, it's like the less I give a shit, the more comes my way. Like, I think I'll go ahead and announce it since it's already out. Fight's going to DreamCon in Houston in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Like that's like my WrestleMania in a sense.
Yeah, no, and I remember like 'cause I think PI is tied to that too, and they're
Mhm,
supposed to be going. I don't remember if they're like I don't know if they're like official. I just know that there's talks of them going out, and it's cool to see fight finally like blossom because
mhm,
it's the one thing that we've all known. Like this is like
yeah,
the hidden gem. Like watching all the stuff that happens with fight, I'm so grateful that I get to be a part of that and get to watch the growth.
mhm,
And I know I haven't been there in a while, but I'm constantly like sharing the stuff. I believe in the mission that they have going on.
mhm,
I love the way that things roll. Johnny's got my heart, my support.
mhm,
So like anything that he needs from me, if he was like, yo, can you guys promote this? Like absolutely. Got no problems. I just let me help what I can do. And I'm very grateful to have met someone like him and to have him in my life as well as Kazama and to see like the growth of just fight just continue to explode. I'm so grateful to see you guys uh,
yeah,
go there and be able to do that in Houston.
yeah.
But talk to me about you, like outside of going to your WrestleMania. I mean, like you've done the manager thing, you've been doing a lot of commentating, and I remember like at TWI, I went back and listened to like your commentating. I was like, you keep getting better every show that I keep hearing you do it. So I'm just like trying to figure out like how are you understanding and getting how did you find your voice first, and then how do you continue to evolve it?
I'm gonna give all the credit to both Mike from TWI and Misty from Bell to Bell for putting me with Veda Scott. Um, they're one of the best out there, and just being able to learn from them. I actually, when my civilian job had me in Portland a couple of years ago for 3 months, Bea was doing a Defy show, and I was like, "Hey, can I like sit next to you and learn from you?" Because I was actually calling a show at DOA in Portland. I think like a couple of weeks later. So I'm grateful and blessed, to be able to have the opportunity to learn from somebody like Veda, and like I could say like my entire career so far, like I've pretty much been on my own. Like I'll learn from my own mistakes. If I get lucky to get paired up with somebody that's well known, that's cool. There's been like last bell to bell, I was doing commentary all by myself. So, like everything's always going to be a learning experience. I know I'm not going to be perfect. Um, it's the I thought to myself yesterday, I'm not the best out here right now, but I am blessed with the opportunities that I'm getting so far.
Yeah, well, I mean, like everybody starts out at level one, and they continue to
Mhm,
grow. And even to this day, I mean, we'll call it like it is. I know a lot of people are going to be, I kind of agree with Pat McAfee, but Michael Cole is the
mhm,
goat, and like
mhm,
Michael Cole's been doing it for what 24 years, 25 years. He still
mhm,
messes up live on Raw. Like it is what it is. Like he's an amazing commentator, amazing storyteller, and it's like, yeah, if he's still messing up, you can mess up as many times as you want. It doesn't
mhm.
matter. But how did you? The more that you catch yourself doing it, like I feel like I've listened to your commentating enough to watch it like evolve. And outside of Veda, like who else has been the kind of like the inspiration to like help you grow?
Um, I think it's a lot of like me. I had to come when I went down to Ashe. I had a conversation with Caprice Coleman. I went up and introduced myself to him and said, hey, I do commentary, I study your work and stuff. And he was like, your job needs that you need to be better than me. And I took that to heart, and I'm always studying, not just wrestling, I'm watching other sports. And even like when I'm playing, I just got into gaming. Even like when I'm playing like 2K or Street Fighter, there's commentary. So like that's how I'm able to, learn from that as well.
I love that you're pulling from other media because I know for me, um, the few times I've done commentating, I think I pulled a lot from like Jerry King Lawler because I just like that
Mhm.
whole like being a bad guy. And when I did commentating for HWF, and they wanted me to do the heel commentating. So after like I got done
Mhm.
wrestling, they had me do heel commentating on the very first show, and I think I put myself out there as like RD Miller, which was like just obviously it's just me and my last name,
Yeah.
um, and so like I just put over like as much like I was trying to be, obviously like a big character and a big voice, commentating. And I remember like at one point in time, one of the commentators was like, "Do you want to do the play-by-play?" I was like, "Absolutely not. It's way too much work." You two parts. One, it was true. Two, I was just want to be lazy, and I was just like, I'm just gonna
Yeah.
just be mean. That's all I want to do. But no, I think about the commentating side of stuff because I know Chaz and I have also done commentating for Kayfabe Junkies, and it is hard. It is hard to do. And even I was in like most of the matches, and I knew the finish, and I was like, I still am having trouble doing this. and,
Yeah.
and also the endurance side of things stay mentally focused is taxing on you
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So so talk to me about one thing. I know this is kind of like a fun question I like asking a lot of people. So I just got to know what's one of the hardest lessons you've had to learn being in the business.
Look out for yourself. Um, Not everybody is meant to go up with you, and you're not meant to go, with them. Um, just because somebody gets that opportunity doesn't mean that that you're going to get that same opportunity. And it's just being able to stay true to myself. And I've also learned, especially this year, not to make this my personality. Like I am a human being. Um I'm a mom, I'm a college student, I do a bunch of other stuff outside of wrestling. Um that, yeah, wrestling's like 24/7, but like I don't make it like my whole life 24/7, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that makes 100% sense because, like, I think Brutal Bob Evans talks about it a lot. Like, it has to have its place.
Mhm.
Like, you can't let it take over your life. It's got to have its compartment and it's got to stay in its compartment because once you start making it like everything, it takes over everything. And then when you lose it, then you lose like all of yourself and then you don't know who you are. So it's very important to
Yeah,
keep things like in the box that it's supposed to stay in and then you keep pushing along the way. So that makes it's a good thought process to have.
yeah. A funny thing about Bob Evans, when I was actually training, I did a seminar and I completely bombed it. Like he knew that the school I was at originally was trash, and he was like, "Yeah, you need to switch schools." And that that kind of which is kind of like why I stopped doing in-ring training, and I took a step back for a couple of years, did my own thing, and then wound up doing, writing at the time, and like now, um, with Next Up being attached to my school, that's how I pretty much got started with what I do now.
Well, and I think there are things too where you end up learning like, hey, like there are other roles for me in wrestling because like even I know like I couldn't even front like I'm getting to that part where I'm hitting my fourth decade, and it's like I know that this isn't gonna be forever, so I'm always looking for like the next avenue of what I can contribute to the business without having it to like take over as far as like doing bumps and stuff like that. So I think to me, like the podcast is definitely like that next realm where I can get on top, interview a bunch of people, have some fun, talk shop, talk about different kind of theories and stuff like that with wrestling, and then just kind of just enjoy like that part, and then it's gonna be easier on my body too because I don't have to worry about
Yeah,
jumping from the top rope and missing anything. It's just gonna be nice
yeah,
to be able to kind of like downtrot. Um, yes,
yeah,
I'm looking forward to the next stage of wrestling life.
yeah.
As far as though, it's funny because I didn't know that you had trained before. This is new information.
Yeah.
How long did you train for?
But yeah, I don't, because I only lasted a year. So uh I kind of like, I don't bring it up unless like it's in a conversation like this or if anybody asks me. But yeah, I attempted to train in Norfolk for about a year, and um not all schools are good schools, so I went through, I can say I saw the bad part of wrestling before I saw the good. And I think that's kind of a blessing and a curse in a sense. Um, Being able to go through what I did when I was training and taking a step back and going on this new path, I know that maybe, maybe in ring, you can't um, spend like 6 months trying to attempt to do bumps. Maybe you should try and look into something else.
I feel you on that. It was one of those things where like I remember when I first started training, like it was January of 2020, and then COVID happened, and I was like, maybe that's a sign that it's not supposed to happen for me. And then in May, my school opened back up, and I went back to training, and then I I ended up like taking a step back because clearly like I'm not bumping all the time. So they had me do a practice match with somebody, and it was just not good. It wasn't a good match. So at that point, I kind of told myself, I was like, maybe that's the sign that I'm supposed to not do this. And I was thinking of other avenues. And then I had a conversation with Mad Max Morrison, actually on this podcast. And it convinced me to stick it out, keep going, and to see where it's going to take you. And then finally, things started to kind of click a little bit, enough to where I was good enough that if they put me in a match, like I was a safe hand, like I was easy to go with. And then like as I'm getting ready for my first match, I tear my abdomen, and I was like, maybe this is the sign I'm supposed to stop. And I was like, nah, we're gonna keep going. Like, so yeah, my first year, I had 4 different thoughts of me just like hanging it up, and I was just like, I'll keep trying, keep plugging away, figuring everything out,
Yeah.
and you know, fast forward, I'm going into my 6th year in January. I'm like, all right, maybe I can hang and bang a little bit in this. I'm not
Yeah.
great. I'm not terrible. I'm just all right. Like,
Yeah. Just comfortable.
yeah. I was like, people could be like, yo, I can have a solid match with that guy. He knows his placements. He knows where to be. He definitely, when he's a bad guy, he's on. When he's a good guy, he gets the crowd to connect. Like, all right, he's all right. And I'm good enough. I'm good with that. Like, I'm all right.
Yeah.
um, what are your all right? So who is the person that inspired you to get into wrestling, like to get into the ring and start training?
John Moxley. Yeah.
It's a good
Believe
pick.
it or not, watching because he's from Cincinnati, which is where I'm from. And, not a lot of people make it, like famous people make it out of Cincinnati. So, that was kind of a motivation. And, not just him, but, AJ Lee was an inspiration as well.
Okay, I like both those. Actually, I had a similar story with Shauna Reed. She had said the same thing because she's from the Cincy area, and you know, she was like, "Yo, I'm trying to get two," and then she had mentioned that John was the motivator, and it's funny to see John continue to grow in this industry, and especially what he's doing right now with AEW. Although it's depending on who you ask, it's either
Mhm.
like really really great, or it's really really bad. There's nothing in the middle with Mox. It is just
Yeah.
here or here, but it's interesting, and you're always talking about
Yeah.
it regardless. And so, see this other's going on with the Death Riders right now. I'm genuinely interested to see like where it caps out and like how it's going, but I don't know. It's got my attention, which is probably like a good and a bad thing because like you know some people will be like, well, I mean, I should say it's a good thing because some people who don't like it are talking about it, and then people who do like it are
Yeah.
obviously talking about it. Yeah, so you know, business must be good because they keep talking about him. So,
Yeah. And
yo,
I'm in the middle of reading his autobiography. So I'm like halfway through.
mm,
But it's I'm learning a lot about him, um, you know, why he is the way he is, which makes sense. Like, because even when I was training, I wanted to be like a female version of Mox, like, being not edgy, but like kind of rough Street Fighter type thing. But yeah.
get whacked with a big ass 2x4 with nails in it.
Worry about CTE. No disrespect. I love the death match. That's one of my goals. To be able to be on commentary and do ring announce for a death match show. But I wouldn't get hit.
No, absolutely not. I can appreciate the art of deathmatch wrestling, and it is not for me. Like
Yeah.
no disrespect. I was like, hey man, I love it.
Mm.
Like watching someone like Nick Gage do his thing, and I know him and Matt Cardona had a couple, you know, bloodbaths. Mox doing his thing with Nick Gage. You know, what I mean, hey, they have some killer matches up there. Schlack is one of those dudes. At one point, you know, Cade Lothbrok was also, you know, it was also a deathmatch wrestler. So I mean, there's so many Slade. I can as I'm rattling them
Mhm.
off, I can see them. But yeah, it's a great it's an art, and you know, shout outs to Matt Tremont as well. Like it's an
Mhm.
art, but it is not for me. Like
Yeah.
I
And
don't even
even when like I would do car rides with, Billy Dixon and Friday, um, there was a time where we went to Enjoy and Billy was in a street fight, and of course, he bled. So like me and Friday are looking at each other like, oh, we're gonna have to deal with a bleeding Billy like on a 6 hour drive home.
Yeah. Yeah. And then like, I mean, I've watched like lots of deathmatch wrestling, and I'm just like, hey, everybody has one in them. They want to do it, but I'm like, yeah, how you do it? I'm like, bro, it is insane to me. I'm like, nah, bro,
Hmm.
I'm good. I'm good where I'm at. I'm gonna stay on my side and not cross that line. I don't even like being hit with a chair. Like, I've had a few of them, but I don't need to be hit. Like, I know it's not a thing that I like. So I'm like, just nah. I could imagine like gigging myself and then like having color all over, or just like, you know, getting hit with the fucking a light tube, whatever. I'm good. I'm good where I'm at. And big shout outs to JB Anderson as well, because I know like,
Yeah.
yeah, he loves that. He loves him some deathmatch wrestling. I remember him and I, they came up to Focus Pro, and one, I was just super excited to see in JB, but two, I just remember seeing him with this like battery operated butter knife, not the bread cutter. And he just, I remember just looking at him, and he looked at the girl, and he was like, I just want to saw your fucking head off. And I was like, Jesus Christ, where did I go? And like the bartender there that night was like, yeah, hit her with a fork. And I was like, oh my God. They were just going in. And big shout outs to like Deathmatch. But like I said, it's not my world. I will definitely go watch, and I'll definitely enjoy. But if you ask me to be a part of it, I'll be like, yeah, no, I'm gonna pass. I'm good. Hey, so we're gonna jump into my favorite part of the Three Count Podcast, which is the Three Count Podcast 10 count questions. And Ms. Kane, this is how it works. I'm gonna fire off 10 questions at you rapid fast, and whatever your answer is, that is your answer. So
Okay.
we're gonna put on the imaginary timer for added pressure. Bing!
Oh,
And in the words of my favorite commentator, Mike Goldberg, here we go. SmackDown or Raw?
raw.
Favorite cartoon?
Archer.
Let's go. Waffles or pancakes?
Waffles.
Favorite TV show?
Oh, I'm finishing up Grey's Anatomy right now.
Okay. Marvel or DC?
DC.
Favorite movie?
Um, I have a lot. Any comedy movie, really. I will say Project X.
That's a good pick. I like that.
Yeah.
Apple or Android?
Bull.
Favorite podcast?
Um, like in wrestling or in general.
Both.
Um, Wrestling, like I don't have a favorite, like I'll catch one here and there. I think otherwise I like what Mace and Cameron are doing. I like
Mm,
that one.
it's a good pick. I like that.
Mhm.
Nominate one person you want to see on this podcast.
Um Friday, Elijah Friday.
He's a great pick. I
Yeah.
that man and I, we, yeah. Last but not least, my favorite question to ask every single person that comes on this show. Favorite curse word?
Uh,
Gotta be good F bomb
yeah,
solves all
I'm a
problems.
sailor.
Right, right. Again, yes, you are. And yep. Listen, I know that people in the Navy make up curse words, and they just blend other words together to make the curse word even more emphatic. So it's crazy. But let me get you to let our listeners and our viewers know where they can find you.
Um, as far as like next shows and stuff, or
Nah, just the social
like on
media
social
handles.
media.
Yeah, just your handles.
Um, so X and Blue Sky, I think I have it the same. Savannah RG513. I think Twitch. I'm trying to get my Twitch followers up. Um, so there, and then IG Savannah Ray here.
There
I
you
think
go.
that's it.
Well, she gave you all of her handles. She told you to go out and support her Twitch channel because she's trying to grow her followers. So go do that. So, what does that mean? Like every great part of a wrestling match, we got to take this home. Because this is the 3 Count Podcast presents Now Entering, and I'm your host, Clifford Red Dog Miller, the man that leads you up that mountain called wrestling. And like I said, it's never about me. It's about who's entering the ring. So who's entering the ring? You see her right there. Savannah Kane. And you guys know what that means. Tune in to the next episode and be there, or you're legitimately subscribed to our YouTube channel. You're following us on all of our social media platforms. You're checking us out on Spotify. You're leaving a follow. You're even leaving us some comments, because we like to have conversation with y'all too. You're leaving those 5-star frog splash reviews off of the Empire State Building onto your Apple device, and saying good things or bad things. I don't care, but just make it as a 5-star review. That's all I really care about. You're even checking us out on that dumb app with the stupid jingle that goes iHeartRadio or whatever it is. You're buying our merch on foryourwear.com. You're buying our merch on prowrestlingtees.com. You're telling your mom about it, your dad about it, your aunties, your uncles, your brothers, your sisters, your cousins, your best friends, your enemies, because we love haters too. You're doing all that stuff, but really you're just waiting for this episode to end. You're waiting for that outro, and then you're choosing another episode to listen to. Kawaii. What's up? It is your friendly neighborhood Red Dog, and thank you for checking out this episode of the 3 Count Podcast. Whether that was Chaz and Friends, Red Dog Friends, Damien Friends, The Film Styles, Now Into the Ring, Now Entering 201, or Now Returning to the Ring, all those good episodes, you should really be liking, commenting, and even sharing this with your friends, family, whoever it may be. But what you all should be doing is checking us out on all of our social media platforms at 3 Count Pod, whether that's on IG, Twitch, you check us out on Threads, whatever it may be. And if you go check us out on X, it is 3Count_pod. Check us out on YouTube, as well as Facebook, on Rumble, on Apple Music, on Spotify, all those fun things. Tell your mom about us, your dad about us, your aunties, your uncles, your brothers, your sisters, your cousins, and your best friends and your enemies, because we love haters too. Do all that stuff. And then, last but not least, buy our merch on foryourwear.com or prowrestlingtees.com. Kawaii.